Well, hello and welcome to today's episode where I'm going to be talking about the complicated world of boundaries with friends. Have you ever had a friend that acted more like a romantic partner than a friend? Were they jealous of other friends? Did they get mad if you didn't tell them everything that was going on in your life? Friends who act possessive or entitled. Anybody? I know you're all shaking your head yes, because everyone has had friends like that at some point in their life. That is what I'm going to be tackling in this episode. How to determine the state of your friendships and what to do about the friendships that you discover are probably not that great. So if you're new to my channel, I want to say welcome. My name is Terri Cole. If you don't know me, I'm a licensed psychotherapist, a relationship expert, and the author of Boundary Boss. So I'm super psyched that you're here. Make sure you subscribe so that all you got to do is click that little bell so that when I have something new out, you don't miss a thing. So I'm super psyched. You guys are so active. You're the best. I love all your comments and your questions. And we have such an active comment section here. So if you're new here and you're interested in finding out stuff, just go to the comment section and you will see, because I read them all. This is what I do all over my weekends. It's amazing. So I actually want to highlight a comment from Marietta, this is on the episode, How to Avoid Covert Manipulation and Control. She wrote, "What? I don't have to fix their feelings. I don't have to accept responsibility for the rainy weather. Maybe, just maybe, I'm not required to be accountable to a family member, only to myself." Thank you, Terry. You have such a great perspective and precision in your delivery. I know I'll want to take notes on this one. Well, thank you, Marietta Mullen, for being here. I certainly do appreciate you. Now, let's move on into the content for today's video. I've had so many people get in touch with me and say that they have complicated friendships, that either they have to, they're like, I need to break up with this person, this friend. It can't work. I'm in so much pain in this relationship. My question is, have you tried to talk to them? Right? Have you had the conversation? And so much of the time, and of course this has to do with disordered boundaries, not to harp on boundaries, but it's true. They go, well, no, I can't talk to her. She's going to flip out. She's going to get mad. It's going to be a fight. Here's the thing. You can talk to her. You can learn to basically talk to anyone. And I think we need to decode what the actual, the issues are in the relationship. For me, back in many years ago, early 2000s, I met up with some, they were like friends, but also kind of like professional pals. And I remember it was that was a horrible winter that year. I think this was literally 2002. I was living in the city. And my hair, which is generally long, but I just got so over it during that winter, and I cut my hair, kind of short to refresh my look. And I was like so excited, and I couldn't wait to like show it to this group of gals who I hadn't seen for a while. And I was approaching one of the table where everyone was. One of the people, and she was sort of like maybe more of a frenemy, I will say, but I didn't know that at the time. We'll just call her Betty, like I do everybody. She gave me the most backhanded compliment out loud. And she said, literally, she said, "Oh my gosh, did you get your hair cut? It looks so matronly." I was like, excuse me, what does it look? Did you just say matronly? Wow, that is straight up mean. So to me, and I was like, wait, do you mean matronly? Is that what you meant to say? But I didn't say that. That's what I was thinking. I said, yes, I did get a cut. I just didn't respond to the insult that I knew she meant as an insult. But I was also, after that, I was like, why do I have anyone in my life who behaves that way? Like, that is such a mean and like crappy way to be. And it wasn't just that, right? For me, I'd had many experiences before I was really good at looking at my own VIP section in my life and making sure that the only people who were in there were people who I actually wanted to be in there. And I can say, my 20s were a long line of maybe not that. So part of what we have to look at when we're looking at problematic friendships is we have to understand what are we repeating? Because we have a tendency as humans to repeat what we do not repair, right? That is a quote. I'll put the woman's name. I don't know why I can never remember her name. 3 names. Can't think of it right now. Anyway, and so for me, a lot of the times, I was the savior in friendships. I was the one that everyone came to. I was playing out unresolved feelings that I had growing up as the youngest sister with 3 older sisters in my family of origin. And it took a whole period of time for me to understand that there's always a parallel process going on, especially when there's conflict, especially if you have a repeated situation, right? And so with that person, Betty, I'd had repeated experiences that were not good, that were very much like that, where she would try to publicly embarrass me or purposefully misunderstand what I had been saying to her. But again, a lot of times she did this publicly, and it was like, I don't know if she was jealous or she was threatened or she was just mean. I mean, I'm not friends with her anymore. Obviously, that was decades ago. But I share that because if you're a lover, and for me, I always lean towards being very codependent, very much of a peacekeeper, very much of a problem solver. It would take so much at that point in my young life. I didn't have the skills to tell the truth. And it took a few more years after that incident before I actually decided I didn't want to be friends with her. And because we weren't close friends, it was easy to just sort of let the friendship fade away. I just wouldn't put in any effort. And that was what happened. So I would find myself, though, many times, and I'm going to give you, I created a guide for you. So you're going to be able to sort of locate if you have problematic friendships, what you're repeating. I'm going to give you some questions. But for myself, I had, my parents got divorced when I was 13. And so I always found myself in my 20s in triangles with other women, where it would be 2 other women who thought I was closer to them, so to speak, and they didn't like each other. So that was definitely, I learned through the therapeutic process, where I was playing out my conflicted loyalty issues in my friendships, but it caused me so much pain. So listen, you may have a different scenario of something. Maybe you have highly critical friends in your life, or friends who are always giving you unasked for advice and criticism. Or maybe you're in the position that I was in my 20s, where people call you because they're always dumping their problems because I didn't know how to say no, and I didn't know how to bring it back to or focus it on myself, because my worth unconsciously in my family of origin was being the fixer of things. So if someone else had a problem, I mean, it is straight up codependency, but that is what it would be. It would feel like my problem. And I wonder if any of you experience this in your relationships. Do they feel like a burden to you? Friendships, like you're gonna, in the downloadable guide, I'm gonna give you a little inventory that you can take to get really clear about where you are, what friendships are adding value to your life, and what friendships might be really draining your energy in a way that you don't want. And we have to look at, because a lot of times, like with the loyalty stuff, we can stay in friendships long past their expiration date. And there's nothing wrong with outgrowing people sometimes. Sometimes people will outgrow us. It happens. Not everyone is going to be a lifer. There's not enough room in your VIP section for that, first of all, but it's also not appropriate. So part of it is, if you're someone who has abandonment fears, you may hold on to friendships that cause you a lot of pain or a lot of stress out of not wanting to sort of be alone, because you're projecting your own abandonment stuff onto the other people in your life. There are so many different ways of interacting with dysfunctional boundaries when it comes to friendships. And what I've really found, especially with female friendships, they can be as complicated or more so than romantic relationships. Because as women, we are raised to be close, like to actually care about what's going on in each other's lives, to the same way we become codependent within our families. We just transfer that to our female friendships. And so what I want you to walk away from this episode is the fact that every relationship in your life, besides minor children, if you're a parent, that's the only exception, but all other relationships, including family, are voluntary. And so be clear, and you will be if you get the downloadable guide and you actually fill in the stuff, the questions, answer the questions that I created for you. Be clear about what are you signing on for? What have you been signing up for? And do you really want to? Because I had a friendship, a very toxic friendship many years ago with a woman who was older than me. She was actually a teacher. It was a whole thing. And I didn't realize that friendship caused so much stress in my life. And I didn't realize until I was talking to my mother, and I was in college, and she was like, Terri, you don't have to be friends with that person. Like, not now, not ever. Just like anything in life, Terri. That's voluntary. So if you're telling me you don't want to be friends with her, then come home. So I left college. I got in my car. I was like, I'm on my way. And she's like, and then you're going to get here and we're going to call her. Keep in mind, people, this was the 80s. So I was literally on a rotary phone. And I'll help you figure out what to say. And you're going to extricate yourself from this unhealthy situation that is not adding value to your life, but is adding stress to your life. And that came as such a revelation. I went to my mom's house in upstate New York. And she's like, you don't have to explain anything either. P.S. Just tell her. So I called up this person and said, P.S. If you ever cared about me, if this friendship ever mattered to you, you will never contact me again. It's unhealthy for me, and I don't want it anymore. Goodbye. And that was, I don't know, 1986, maybe. So that was my first real foray, and I'd only had a little bit of therapy at that point, into the liberation of choosing. Now, I share that example. It's kind of an extreme example, but it was definitely, that friendship, quote unquote, definitely caused me more emotional stress than pretty much any romantic relationship I had ever been in. And it wasn't a romantic relationship. And that is not uncommon. So hence why I'm doing this episode for you about the oh so complicated world of boundaries in friendships. And I'd love to know what you think about this. Have you struggled with this? Are you struggling with this right now? And are you going to download the guide that I created for you and start to get an idea of who's in your life right now and who you want in your life? And again, this doesn't mean no matter what you discover from doing the downloadable guide, the exercises I created for you, you don't have to do anything. I want to help you recognize that you have choices, and that whether you know it or not, even the painful relationships you're in right now, you are choosing them, and that there is a healthy, strategic way that you can either step back from some friendships, be less available, or end them altogether. That is 100% possible. And in the guide, I walk you through exactly how to do it. So I want to know what you think about this, what your thoughts are. If you liked it, please share it with people in the world. Again, if you have not subscribed to the channel and you're sitting here and you're here all the way through this entire episode, please hit the bell and subscribe. I also just want to say thank you. Thank you for caring about your mental health. You people are for sure my people. As always, take care of you.